Oh! Hello! Welcome to Wheel Talk. I'm Recappa Sedai. Today we will recap and discuss The Eye of the World, Chapter 28, Footprints in Air. This is the first time we've used a green screen. Yes, it looks fabulous. I don't actually know how it looks, I'm just hoping. Also, for those who haven't noticed, I clipped a lapel mic to this wine glass. Does it look silly? Yeah, maybe a little, but that's never stopped me before. Enough of this! Chapter 28, Footprints in Air.
Who loves long books and tiny warders? Who's so over the Amerlin's orders? Who loves making every novice cry? Recappa Sedai.
Oh, that's me! So, spoiler-free recap. Nynaeve, Moiraine, and Lan are traveling to Whitebridge. Moiraine won't tell Nynaeve anything useful. All she wants to discuss is training Nynaeve in Tar Valon. Nynaeve tells herself, oh, she'll train in Tar Valon, but only to make Moiraine sorry. Nynaeve is not happy with Moiraine.
How do you plan to find them, Aes Sedai? As I have told you, I will know when I am close to the two who have lost their coins. As for the one who still has his token, I can follow him across half the world if need be. And then, Tar Valon, wisdom.
Tar Valon, Tar Valon. That is all you ever say, and I am beginning to—
Part of the training you will receive in Tar Valon, wisdom, will teach you to control your temper. You're seriously gonna have to work on that.
Okay, you know what?
Lan, I must speak with you.
Nynaeve would love to just slap Moiraine, but Lan bugs her even more. She's not sure why. Lan barely talks and he's usually off scouting. But when he's around, Lan watches Nynaeve and Moiraine like he's watching a duel. Nynaeve can't stand it. She notices Moiraine and Lan tensing up as they travel. Moiraine keeps feeling the air and frowning. Lan looks extra wary, and Nynaeve senses something bad. It reminds her of listening to the wind. She asks Lan about it. He's like,
It is nothing, but also, you should go back to your two rivers when we reach Whitebridge.
She is part of the pattern, Lan, and your hair looks stupid. It is the dark one, Nynaeve. His gaze is stronger.
wow, okay. Sorry I asked. They come to the crazy bridge that gives Whitebridge its name. Nynaeve thinks, that looks like glass. It can't possibly support our horses.
We're just gonna crash through it and die.
Nynaeve smells char.
In the square at the foot of the bridge, buildings have been burned down, and Moiraine's like, the wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
She dismounts and offers sympathy to the people of Whitebridge. They warm up to Moiraine and start to talk. But they're afraid. Everyone's story is different, and most of them are clearly lying.
An overturned lantern started a fire that spread with the wind.
There's a man in town channeling the one power.
Totally. It was bandits. No, none of the burned buildings are next to each other. The wind just blew the fire that way.
It was dark, friends. I mean, the Aes Sedai should step in.
For real. Let the Red Aja handle it.
Hello?
It was just a crazy wind coincidence. A coincidence. I have to go. I have a thing.
They also hear about some kind of trouble that came downriver on a boat. One guy says, we showed them. Let them keep that kind of thing in the borderlands where it belongs. We went down to the docks and he cut off so abruptly his teeth clicked. One woman mentions a gleeman aboard. Nynaeve suggests Thom and the Emmons Fielders might have been on that boat. And Moiraine is like, perhaps. They walk into an inn. Moiraine feels the air with her hand and smiles. They sit down to eat. The inn is quiet. A soldier walks in, sees them, and just stomps over. He's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And when are you leaving?
We are leaving as soon as I finish my ale, which is what this obviously is. The light illumine good Queen Morgaze.
The soldier's kind of freaked out by Lan. He walks away.
Where are we going? First, I must find the one I can be sure of finding, somewhere to the north. The other two were in this room a day or two ago. I cannot say which way they went, but eventually they will remember Camelin.
There was a half-man here. I can smell him.
That's bad, but I need to stay positive, so I'm gonna act like you didn't just say that. I want to find the boys too, but what about Egwene? You never even mention her. I hope to find Egwene alive and well too. I do not easily give up on women with that much ability once I have found them, but it will be as the wheel weaves. Am I one of those women you won't give up? We'll see about that, Aes Sedai.
They leave Whitebridge, with Moiraine leading them northeast. And that's the end of the chapter, yes! I'd like to take a moment to thank our new Patreon members, our new Wilders, Shannon, our new Novices and Soldiers, Deb, our new Accepted and Dedicated, Jess, Caractus P. Doom, Tamsuki Sedai, and Lyra Sedai. Wait, I can do a better one. Our new Aes Sedai and Ashamad. I don't care if I'm flipping my hair everywhere. Josh! That was a good one. Thank you all and welcome to Wheel Talk's Patreon. Congrats to our new members on their status. Enjoy the perks. Huge thanks to all of our Patreon members. This episode is brought to you by Patreon members. I mean, yeah. The next part of this video is the 13th Depository. I'm gonna dive deep on the chapter and there might be spoilers. If you haven't finished reading The Wheel of Time, I recommend not watching this part. We don't spoil first-time readers here, or frankly anywhere who does that. I pronounce this meeting sealed to the flame. For this 13th Depository, I'd like to discuss what happened in Whitebridge. I glossed over this on my first few reads, and I think that's easy to do. At the end of chapter 26, Whitebridge, things got crazy. Thom attacked a fade, there were screams and blue flashes, people flooded out the gates. I assumed Whitebridge's damage was related to the chaos at the end of chapter 26. On a closer look, it's clear that more happened in Whitebridge after Thom attacked that fade. Who burned those buildings? It wasn't the Murdral. I've read theories that Rand channeled as he ran away and lightning caused the blue flashes and the fires. I don't think Rand channeled at the end of chapter 26. If you look at the side effects, the book is pretty clear on when Rand channels. But those blue flashes at the end of chapter 26 are confusing. When a fade's Thokandar blade collides with a power-wrought weapon, there's a blue flash. We see this in chapter 18 when Lan fights a fade. Are there blue flashes when Thokandar blades meet normal weapons? I don't think so. Let me know if I'm wrong. But there were blue flashes when Thom fought that fade. It seems like that's where the blue flashes came from. Did Thom have power-wrought daggers? Was he really parrying the fade sword with daggers? Is fighting a swordsman with daggers even a thing? I don't have those answers. Sorry. My hair is everywhere. My hair is everywhere. This is from Thom's entry in the Wheel of Time Companion. He saved the boys from a Murdral in Whitebridge, escaping largely because the Murdral was more interested in following Rand and Mat, though he did put up a good fight and wounded it, perhaps even killed it. Kind of vague, but here's my takeaway. Thom and the Murdral wounded each other. The Murdral left to chase Rand and Mat, and then maybe died. That's how it sounds to me. There's more? Let's continue. He himself was wounded in the leg and would have died, had not an Aes Sedai shown up just in the nick of time. Like Samitsu, she could regulate her weaves, so she was able to heal him enough to keep him alive. But he was left with a limp and a scar. So, an Aes Sedai showed up in the nick of time and healed Thom. Why was an Aes Sedai there, and how did she find Thom? We'll come back to that. The damage we read about in this chapter is similar to what happened on Winter Night. The Trollocs burned specific buildings going after the Ta'veren. Also, I don't think Murdral run around burning buildings. Pretty sure that's a Trolloc thing. However, no one in Whitebridge is talking about Trollocs. In the Wheel of Time, folks are often afraid to discuss Murdral. But when they see a Trolloc, the reaction is usually, hey, I just saw a freaking Trolloc. My first few times through this book, I ruled out Trollocs in Whitebridge. I figured if there had been Trollocs, the Whitebridge rumors would be about Trollocs. But there are rumors of Trollocs if you look for them. We showed them, a narrow-faced man muttered. Let them keep that kind of thing in the borderlands where it belongs. We went down to the docks and he cut off so abruptly his teeth clicked. Without another word, he scurried off, peering back over his shoulder at them as if he thought they might chase him down. When he says we showed them, I think he means Bayle Domann's crew. When he says let them keep that kind of thing in the borderlands, I think he means Trollocs who attacked Whitebridge after the Chapter 26 stampede. I looked up Bayle Domann's next POV to see if it mentioned Trollocs in Whitebridge. There isn't much about Domann's flight from Whitebridge, but I did come across this. I have to turn the page without knocking this over because the mic is attached to the wine, which is attached to my arm. Oh, I had a bookmark there. He had heard that Whitebridge had been burned to the ground right after he sailed from there, and there had been rumors of Myrddraal as well as Trollocs. It was that, all of it together, that had first convinced him he was not imagining things. That had had him on guard when that first odd commission was offered. Too much money for a simple voyage to Tyr, and a thin tail for a reason. Taking all of that into account, here's my sort of tinfoil hat theory on what happened in Whitebridge. Thom attacked that Fade. Wait, this is the wrong way. It's gonna bug me. Their fight caused blue flashes, somehow. People freaked out and ran. The Fade left to chase Rand and Mat, and Thom was left wounded. Then after that, Trollocs were drawn to the spray. Trollocs who had nothing to do with that Myrddraal. And they burned down a bunch of buildings, and Aes Sedai showed up to heal the wounded, and Thom got in line. Then after that, a bunch of people were like, hey, that Gelb dude said the Trollocs had something to do with that boat. Let's get him! And the angry mob that this chapter mentions chases away Domann's crew, blaming them for the Trollocs. So I'm saying there was a Trolloc attack between chapters 26 and 28. Maybe this is something everyone already thinks and you're all just like, yeah, duh. But I hadn't realized it on my first several reads. I think that's why an Aes Sedai was around to heal Thom. And I don't think these buildings burned at the end of chapter 26. I think something else went down after. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you can like the video and subscribe, that would be delightful. It helps the channel. If you'd like to support Wheel Talk and help it continue, the best way is to sponsor the show on Patreon. There's a link in the notes. All levels of contribution are fantastic. If you're not listening to Tarvalin After Dark, which is a fairly new podcast with me, Jess, and Nameless, what are you doing? New episodes drop on Mondays. Check that out. Get on that! And until next time, walk in the light and keep it wheel.
Who loves long books and tiny warders? Who's so over the Amerlin's orders? Who loves making every novice cry? Recappa Sedai.